What's up, guys? Welcome back to Picture Breakdown. This is my breakdown of What If Episode 7. What if Thor were an only child? But really, we know this is just What if Thor fought Captain Marvel, because that's what we came here to see. But I'm going to be going through this episode chop by chop, finishing visual details, hidden references, as well as any background information I might need to know. But first, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and notification bell to be notified for every future What If episode breakdown. Spoiler warning for What If Episode 7. Alright, so we open with Jane Foster and Darcy Lewis in the same van as when they found Thor in the first place. They see the Bifrost go across the sky, and Darcy says, "They're here." A reference to the same line in the Poltergeist. "They're here." Odin falls into his Odin sleep, and Frigga goes to celebrate the solstice with her sisters, aka the witches, and Thor and the Warriors 3 walk down Asgard's vault. In the background, you can see the Infinity Gauntlet with all 6 Infinity Stones in it. But as we learned from Hela, the thing is fake.
Most of the stuff in here is fake.
So, Thor starts a party on Earth, and there's a bunch of cameos from a bunch of people and aliens that we know that are in the party. I'm gonna rattle them off for you. There's Scourge, Skrulls, Frost Giants, some Sovereign, Howard the Duck, the Grandmaster, Nebula, Korg, Meek, Valkyrie, Drax, Rocket, Surtur, Yondu, and finally Mantis. Thor then says,
"Here, have a drink. It never runs out. You try to drink it all, but you can't because it's magic."
Which seems like it could be a reference to Thor's visit to the Sanctum Sanctorum in Thor Ragnarok, in which Doctor Strange used magic to refill Thor's mug.
So I keep a watch list of individuals and beings from other realms that may be a threat to this world. Your adopted brother Loki is one of those beings.
It's a worthy inclusion.
Thor and Jane then get tattoos, with Thor's having a microscope saying science, and Jane's with Mjolnir saying magic, which is kind of saying that they got matching tattoos because of Thor's line back in his first movie.
Your ancestors called it magic, and you call it science. Well, I come from a place where they're one and the same thing.
After the party, Maria Hill comes to Jane's door and explains why Maria is now the acting director of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Hey, Spicoli! This might be your party, but this isn't your planet.
Jeff Spicoli was a character in The Fast Times at Ridgemont High, played by Sean Penn. Maria Hill uses the pager to call Captain Marvel, and when she gets there, she calls Thor by yet another name.
Hey, Whitesnake. We need to chat.
Whitesnake are a hard rock band formed in London in 1978. She and Thor then get into a fight, and Thor begins to spin his hammer around, making a sort of windstorm, and there's this little funny detail that I caught in the background. So when the wind starts to get bad, one guy starts to get pushed backwards and falls into another person, knocking them over. I thought that was kind of funny. Thor knocks her from France all the way to the UK, and she lands in Stonehenge, the place where Eric Selvig went crazy in Thor the Dark World.
After a seemingly harmless rambler approached the area, then decided to strip naked and effectively terrorize tourists there with scientific equipment while shouting that he was trying to save them.
Thor knocks over the stone. And Carol punches him all the way to the US. And when they get there, Thor summons the hammer to himself in just 8 seconds. So I decided to do a little bit of calculating, and I found out how fast Thor's hammer would have had to travel to get all the way from the UK to America in just 8 seconds. So we can see that Thor is heading to Florida, and the distance from the edge of the UK to the closest edge of Florida in a straight line is 8,393.7 miles, or 13,508.3 kilometers. This is going to be an underestimate because they went from Stonehenge to probably not the closest edge of Florida, but the numbers are still crazy. The speed that it would take for Mjolnir to travel the distance that it did in the time that it did would be, drumroll please, a whopping 3,777,165 miles per hour, or 6,078,735 kilometers per hour. To give you a bit of reference, the fastest aircraft in the world is the Lockheed SR-71 Blackbird, which is able to get up to 3.3 times the speed of sound. The speed of sound itself is 767 miles per hour, or 1,234 kilometers per hour, which means that Thor's hammer moved almost 5,000 times the speed of sound. 1,515 times faster than that of the Blackbird. In terms of ground that it would be able to cover, this thing would be able to circle the entire Earth around the equator in just under 24 seconds. Thor and Carol then have an amazing fight in the desert, and if you go slowly, you can notice a few really cool hard to spot details. So first, when they're fighting, Thor drops his hammer from one hand and then grabs it with his other to hit Carol, similar to how Bucky did that with his knife. Also, when they're fighting, Thor's lightning is colored blue while Carol's is colored yellow. So when they hit the hammer and the fist straight on, that creates sort of a small shockwave of like blue and yellow, similar to what happened when Thor hits Cap's shield.
Well, they're excited.
And the last one is when Thor in the end is getting completely demolished by Carol. The animator stuck in a few shots of Thor's spit going all over his face, as they've done in a couple of episodes. Thor then shoots lightning straight at Captain Marvel, which she just absorbs because one of her abilities in the comics and in the MCU is that she is able to absorb energy. Carol loses to Thor, and Maria Hill says,
Fury said you were the best, that your punch was equal to 10 nuclear bombs, that your cat could devour whole armies.
Referencing Goose the Flurkin that ate a bunch of Kree in Captain Marvel, and Darcy says,
Totally thought you were gonna be a dude captain, but look at you. Oh, not.
A reference to the fact that the character of Captain Marvel that started out in the comics was actually a guy. Frigga arrives on Earth, and Thor's teaching a class. He summons his hammer, and it's covered with a bunch of different little stickers, and the ones that I could see that were visible were Heart Hotties, Drift, and Crazy Knight. We finish with Ultron marching in with all 6 Infinity Stones, in his final form of the Vision body. The thing that I find interesting, though, is that the stones aren't really colored right. They're supposed to be red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, but in Ultron, there's an orange, a yellow, a green, a pink, and a purple. Not really sure what this means or why the animators did that, but I kind of thought that was interesting. Wow, guys, what an episode. I think this was really refreshing for the What If episodes because the last 3 in a row have been pretty dark, and the light mood change seemed to be giving us a little break. I think that was a very good choice that Marvel made. The fights between Captain Marvel and Thor were very well choreographed, really fun to watch, and just the Thor versus Captain Marvel thing was something that us as fans have always wanted to see ever since Captain Marvel got introduced into the MCU, and I think they executed it pretty well. They also made it clear that there was no winner because Captain Marvel wasn't trying her hardest and Thor wasn't at his peak. So fans can still speculate about who's better, who would win in a fight. And I think that was really smart for them to do. I really liked the episode overall, but let me know down in the comments what you thought of the episode. Before you go, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to be notified for every future What If episode breakdown. If you enjoyed this week's breakdown, don't forget to hit that like button. It's super helpful for the channel. And if you know someone who's watching What If, as always, please consider sharing this with them. Put down any questions or comments and let me know what your favorite part of the episode was. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next breakdown.
Before someone gets hurt, I need more cannons.